Introduction. Cryptocurrencies are a new concept in the global economy. They have existed only for approximately 5 years, and they have already attracted a lot of attention. Especially since the year 2013, they have experienced turbulent changes in their exchange rates. The cryptocurrencies belong to the group of virtual currencies. We can consider cryptocurrency as a digital medium of exchange based on cryptography principles, allowing the performance of secure, decentralized, and distributed economic transactions. Theoretical foundations of cryptocurrencies were outlined by Chom for the first time in 1983. The cryptocurrencies integrate electronic virtual money with principles of cryptography. The basic principle of cryptocurrency is that no individual or organization may accelerate or significantly abuse a given currency production. Typically, only a certain predefined amount of cryptocurrency is collectively produced by the entire cryptocurrency system. The rate of production is set by a value defined in prior and is publicly known. The cryptocurrencies allow virtually costless transfers of cryptocurrency units, referred to as coins, between client applications via a peer-to-peer computer network. The most famous cryptocurrency and the first to be introduced was Bitcoin in 2009. It was designed by a person or group of persons hiding under the pseudonym Satoshi Nakamoto. Two types of Bitcoin users exist: ordinary users and so-called Bitcoin miners. Ordinary users of Bitcoin use digital wallets similar to electronic banking applications. The wallet is software for the management of Bitcoin Cash, thus sending and receiving payments in Bitcoins. Bitcoins exist only as information and files on a computer or a mobile device. Access to these files is restricted to the private key holder, which is used to secure the money. If the computer's file system is damaged, or the wallet file is inadvertently deleted, then the wallet file is lost and the bitcoins it contained are lost forever, in case the wallet file was not backed up. Although wallet's public address still exists, it can only be accessed by the private key, which was deleted. Unless one breaks the very secure encryption built into the system, it would not be possible to recover the lost coins. Breaking encryption used by the Bitcoin network by force is virtually impossible. The mining is the process of new Bitcoin's creation, and miners perform it. Miners are the second group of Bitcoin users, and they are solving the artificial mathematical problem by dedicating their computational power to the Bitcoin network. The mining is used to confirm waiting transactions by including them in the blockchain. The blockchain is created every 10 minutes in the case of Bitcoin, so every payment in Bitcoins is confirmed in time of 10 minutes. It enforces a chronological order in the blockchain, protects the network's neutrality, and allows different computers to agree on the system state. For the transactions to be confirmed, they must be packed in a block that fits very strict cryptographic rules verified by the network. These rules prevent previous blocks from being modified because doing so would invalidate all following blocks. Mining also represents a competitive lottery that prevents any individual from easily adding new blocks consecutively in the blockchain. So no individuals can control what is included in the blockchain or replace parts of the blockchain to roll back their payments. The creation of blocks is proof of mining's work system, so the data are costly and time-consuming to create according to requirements. Bitcoin uses the SHA-2-256 cryptographic algorithm as a proof-of-work mechanism during transaction confirmation. Some cryptocurrencies, e.g. Peercoin, also employ a proof-of-stake mechanism. The proof-of-stake mechanism means that fractions of cryptocurrency units are assigned to their holders as a reward for holding the cryptocurrency, which can be considered an analogy of interest. Since the introduction of Bitcoin, tens of others of cryptocurrencies have emerged. The most are based on similar specifications as Bitcoin, which represents the first fully implemented cryptocurrency protocol. The second most popular cryptocurrency, Litecoin, uses the script algorithm as a proof of work and has faster transaction confirmations, 2.5 minutes. Most cryptocurrencies gradually introduce new currency units until reaching a maximum preset cap of the total amount of currency that will ever be created. The maximum cap of cryptocurrency aims to assure scarcity, similar to the case of precious metals. It also should prevent hyperinflation. On the contrary, some cryptocurrencies might experience hyperdeflation as the amount of the currency in circulation will approach its preset finite cap. All currently existing cryptocurrencies are pseudonymous, so they provide a very high degree of anonymity. Therefore, cryptocurrencies are less prone to be confiscated by law enforcement institutions. These facts make cryptocurrencies very attractive to the black market. The case of the Silk Road is infamous. It was an e-marketplace used for drug dealing and other black market trading, and it was accepting payments in cryptocurrencies. However, since the introduction of cryptocurrencies, they continually gain attention, positive or negative, from the media and public, especially during the fast price rise of Bitcoin and Litecoin during the year 2013. Chapter 1. The Basics of Cryptocurrencies. Our research aimed at investigating basic aspects of cryptocurrencies that might influence their prices. The price of cryptocurrency reflects the trust of users in a given currency and its future development. Cryptocurrencies bring to their users freedom of payments. They provide the possibility to send and receive any amount of money quickly anywhere in the world at any time. Users of cryptocurrencies are not limited spatially or in time when realizing their payments, so their users are in full control of their money. Cryptocurrency payments are processed with no fees or extremely small fees. In Bitcoin, users may include fees with transactions to receive priority processing, which results in faster confirmations of transactions by the network. Additionally, merchant processors exist to assist merchants in processing transactions, converting Bitcoins to fiat currency, and depositing funds directly into merchants' bank accounts daily. These services are based on Bitcoin, so that they can be offered much lower fees than with PayPal or credit card networks. All information concerning your cryptocurrency money supply is readable and available in the blockchain for anybody to verify and use in real time, so cryptocurrencies are transparent. Furthermore, no individual or organization can control or manipulate the cryptocurrency protocol because they are cryptographically secured. Cryptocurrency payments can be made without personal information linked to the transaction. This offers strong protection against identity theft and almost full anonymity. Cryptocurrency users can also protect their money by encryption and backing up their wallets. Also, merchants can't hide any charges, as can happen with other payment methods. The cryptocurrency transactions are secure and irreversible. This protects merchants from losses caused by fraud or fraudulent chargebacks. This allows merchants to have lower fees in large markets and decrease administrative costs. On the other hand, the total value of cryptocurrencies in circulation and the number of businesses accepting them are very small compared to classic fiat currencies. Therefore, a relatively small number of trades or events can significantly affect the price of cryptocurrencies. This volatility might decrease as cryptocurrency markets and technologies will mature. Most of the cryptocurrencies and their software are still in development, with many incomplete features. New tools, features, and services might still be developed. Also, many people are still unaware of cryptocurrencies. Both users and businesses accept cryptocurrencies because they want to utilize their advantages, but their numbers remain small and still need to grow to benefit from network effects. While the total supply of cryptocurrency is predetermined and gradually increases over time with mining, total demand after it may vary dramatically. However, the supply of cryptocurrency on an e-market is not equal to its total supply. It only reflects the amount of cryptocurrency that market subjects are willing to sell at given prices at a given moment via e-markets. Prices in official currencies are directly set by demand and supply on e-markets only for two of the most popular cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin and Litecoin. Other cryptocurrencies are directly interchangeable on e-markets only for Bitcoin or Litecoin, respectively. Therefore, their exchange rate is strongly influenced also by changes in Bitcoin or Litecoin exchange rates. Other major aspects that influence the exchange rate of cryptocurrency are its acceptance and usability in various applications. Bitcoin is the most widely accepted cryptocurrency in many cases on the web and brick-and-mortar businesses and merchants. Many legal official sites accept payments or donations in Bitcoins or Litecoins. However, in addition to that, many sites merchandising unofficial or even illegal goods, such as drugs, firearms, etc., accept it. The main reasons are easy transfers and their almost complete anonymity of cryptocurrency transactions. Logically, subjects acting on the black market want to remain anonymous. Also, the availability of cryptocurrency is an important issue. The easiness of purchasing or exchanging for classical currency into cryptocurrency and vice versa allows better possibilities to use cryptocurrencies. Consequently, it influences their exchange rates. In the case of Bitcoin, there are already ATMs for Bitcoin purchases available in some countries, which use exchange rate from one of the major e-markets, allowing cryptocurrency exchange with a small fee covering the ATM's costs of maintenance and operation. This increases the availability of Bitcoin between wide populations. However, the main source of cryptocurrency remains mining and direct trading on electronic markets. Furthermore, legislation changes in many countries positively or negatively influence the possibility of using cryptocurrency in legal money transactions. In some countries, legislative arrangements induced by possible illegal cryptocurrency transactions brought restrictions to cryptocurrencies in a particular country. However, this legislation's influence on illegal transactions would be lower because they already are out of a given country's law system for another reason than new legislation restricting cryptocurrency usage. Awareness about cryptocurrency affects both positively and negatively its exchange rate. Higher awareness of Bitcoin made it very popular last year, partially contributing to its enormous price. This also affected many other cryptocurrencies, mainly because they are interchangeable with Bitcoin. All these aspects influence the use of cryptocurrency and its final exchange rate to normal currencies. Together, they generate trust in a given cryptocurrency. The higher trust brings the more stable and higher price of the cryptocurrency to the market. We can summarize these aspects of cryptocurrencies into the following basic aspects. A. Volatility. Volatility represents a measure of the intensity of price changes of a given investment. High volatility might cause serious problems within a given investment. While considering the cryptocurrency, the main problem caused by the volatility is that of a deflationary bias. With more and more people wanting access to a limited number of cryptocurrencies, its value will be pushed upwards. Therefore, things become cheaper for those that have cryptocurrency in possession. Deflation encourages cash hoarding rather than spending, and it is incorporated directly into the basic principles of current cryptocurrencies. High increases in cryptocurrency values encourage its users to hold cryptocurrency further and avoid its use. For example, O'Brien at this point suggests that cryptocurrency ceases to be a currency and becomes a virtual commodity. On the other hand, big decreases in cryptocurrency's value encourages its holders to sell out their cryptocurrency and buy more stable traditional currencies or commodities. This leads to even greater decreases of cryptocurrency rates as long as their sellout increases cryptocurrency supply on the market, and sellers tend to sell cryptocurrencies at still lower and lower price. In traditional currencies, central banks avoid these effects and assure currency stability, while cryptocurrencies lack any form of central banking. However, the high volatility is not for cryptocurrency users only the bad news. Even short-term speculations might bring high earnings to cryptocurrency speculators. This fact, along with the high growth of cryptocurrency exchange rates, attracted even more speculators. It led to even bigger price growth and the creation of price bubbles. Although users holding cryptocurrencies who purchased or mined it sooner in the past, before the volatile year of 2013, might have recorded above 1,000% earnings. Having volatile currency means that businesses can't plan or budget effectively, and the chaos that this could cause would be too much of a risk for most, even if sometimes they came out ahead. Nobody knows how much stuff a Bitcoin will be able to buy in a day, a week, or a month. There are no fundamentals to speak of. High demand after cryptocurrencies made them very volatile with predominant growth of exchange rate. These effects are transferred from Bitcoin and Litecoin into other cryptocurrencies thanks to their interchangeability only via the medium of Bitcoin or Litecoin. The recorded extreme volatility of cryptocurrencies suggests them only for risk takers, considering them as an investment possibility. B. Awareness. The awareness of cryptocurrency affects its users' count and, therefore, the stability of its exchange rate. The higher awareness of a given cryptocurrency means its more potential users. A very big role in the field of awareness plays the media. High media coverage of Bitcoin's price rally drew the attention of numerous additional speculators who then invested in Bitcoin and participated in its enormous growth of the price. Besides all form of media, word of mouth also increases the awareness of cryptocurrencies and contributes to increased cryptocurrency users' numbers. C. Availability. Another important aspect of cryptocurrencies is their availability for use. Availability is influenced by the easiness of purchasing and their interchangeability for official standard currencies. This is enabled by private electronic markets available to the general public. Several subjects accepting payments in a given cryptocurrency also reflects its availability and usability. The number of merchants accepting some cryptocurrency, Bitcoin mainly, is increasing, but they face the problem of the high volatility of cryptocurrencies. So in most cases, they do not keep cryptocurrency for a longer period and change for standard currency. On the other hand, higher availability brings a higher and more stable exchange rate of cryptocurrency thanks to an increased number of users of a given cryptocurrency, slowing rate changes and decreasing its volatility in time. Further, the speed of transactions and their confirmations processes makes cryptocurrency more available and practical for payments in an electronic environment. C. Anonymity. All cryptocurrency payments between anonymous sides are hardly traceable. This fact is the main reason for their usage in criminal operations. Very hard transaction traceability and no central guarantee of currency are the main reasons for criticism and legislation restrictions of cryptocurrencies. Governments and security authorities are also afraid of virtually untraceable transactions connected with criminal financing activities or terrorist organizations. Cryptocurrencies with virtually anonymous transactions are potentially very useful for such financial transfers to terrorists from their sponsors. This lack of transfers identification led to multiple legislation adjustments and arrangements for cryptocurrency usage restrictions in recent years. On the other hand, legal users might also prefer anonymous transactions due to privacy intrusions by any third party not involved in the transaction. After recent cases of disclosure of governmental tracking of private communications, are privacy concerns even more understandable? So anonymity of cryptocurrency affects the usage of cryptocurrencies both positively and negatively. D. Legislation influence. Before the year 2009, not a single national legislation contained the term of cryptocurrency. Since then, an increasing amount of money transferred in cryptocurrency has forced policymakers in many countries to issue a recommendation or create laws regarding cryptocurrency in the national economy. Broader allowance of cryptocurrency usage supports its usage and generates bigger trust in it. However, most countries did not allow the use of cryptocurrency or concede to them the currency status. This action restrained the possibility of its usage in the legal economy. However, it keeps its status of the safe and anonymous medium of exchange in the illegal economy. Any illegal transactions by cryptocurrencies as payments for illegal commodities and services are affected by valid cryptocurrency legislation only to a minor extent, as long as these transactions are already part of activity violating some other laws with greater criminal consequences. The area of cryptocurrency introduction process rules lacks the legislation treatment. Although cryptocurrencies are independent, multiple pre-mining or pump-and-dump schemes during the introduction of some cryptocurrencies negatively affected the trust in all cryptocurrencies. Chapter 2. How Cryptocurrencies Work. The source codes and technical controls that support and secure cryptocurrencies are highly complex. However, lay people are more than capable of understanding the basic concepts and becoming informed cryptocurrency users. Functionally, most cryptocurrencies are variations on Bitcoin, the first widely used cryptocurrency. Like traditional currencies, cryptocurrencies express value in units. For instance, you can say, I have 2.5 Bitcoins, just as you would say, I have $2.50. Several concepts govern cryptocurrencies' values, security, and integrity. What problems could cryptocurrency solve? Cryptocurrencies are often looked at as two things: an investment tool and a way to ensure transactions remain discreet. Nevertheless, what if we told you it has the potential to be more? That its design properties mean it could be used as a tool to solve some of the world's biggest issues. Take, for example, its blockchain technology, which can record transactions without a middle person, like a bank, and virtually unhackable process. Something like this could be used to stamp out a human error or even corruption when making monetary transactions. So let's look at some other things that could be fixed up with some of these technological designs. Inflation. Simply put, inflation is when your cash is worth less than it used to be over time. It can happen when your government prints more money. The worth of your $20 note loses a bit of value because another 5 or maybe 5 million have just been circulated. What happens to your rare collectibles? Think shiny Pokemon cards. If they become common, they're not worth as much, but everyone is willing to pay a bit more to get them when they're extremely hard to come by. However, with cryptocurrencies, the supply is finite, unlike fiat currencies, which are traditional money backed by a government, like the Australian dollar. As of July 2019, only 80% of the world's Bitcoin has been made available. According to expert Daniel Garnsey from crypto trading platform NCX, this means Bitcoin is protected from inflation caused in fiat currency markets where governments simply print more money. Seeing how inflation can adversely affect economies by increasing the cost of goods and lowering the purchase power of people's wages, limiting inflation is a step in the right direction. Digital voting. Blockchain, a technology introduced when the first crypto, Bitcoin, was created, can be utilized in many applications. One proposed suggestion is that blockchain technology could allow for a robust digital voting system in many democracies worldwide. As Garnsey says, blockchain technology could change the way countries elect leaders in the future, as it can reduce the time and costs involved in the election process. It could work by recording votes made by an eligible citizen after verification. Votes would then be hosted on the private blockchain after their identity has been verified. However, some experts warn that the technology is not ready just yet to take on the monumental responsibility of managing the votes and determining a country's government. Until then, it's paper and pencil for you. Equality in money management. An obvious advantage of cryptocurrency is its feature to cut the middle person out, a role that would typically belong to a traditional bank. There are a few reasons you might want to favor cryptos over banks. For starters, banks close down during holidays and offer limited services. Also, transferred money can sometimes take days to show up in your account. They're also not tied to a single location. Cryptocurrency wallets are simple and fast to establish and operate on a global scale, Garnsey offers instead. There's also a major added benefit for women in Saudi Arabia, where they cannot hold their bank accounts without a male guardian's input. With the use of cryptocurrencies, these women could bypass using a traditional bank to hold their money, meaning they have the freedom to manage their funds. Some reports have suggested women in Afghanistan have already been getting paid for their work in cryptocurrency. Stop future global financial crises. If you were alive back in 2008, you might have heard a thing or two about the global financial crisis, GFC. If you haven't, watch Hollywood's take on it, The Big Short, and seethe with anger. The TLDR of it, too long, didn't read, was that some big boys in the finance world realized banks were playing pretty loose with the rules and giving out loans to people who could not afford them. This, among other dodgy things, undermined the entire global economy, forcing millions of people out of work and in some cases out of their homes. This would have likely been avoided with cryptocurrency, as blockchains tend to be a far more transparent system than the private investment firms offered. It could have offered real-time insights into the house of cards that was about to tumble down and given politicians and lawmakers a chance at avoiding the eventual catastrophe that would eventuate. Transparency is a major benefit of a cryptocurrency transaction, says Garnsey. Once written to the blockchain, it can't be changed, which provides a trustless environment of publicly available information. Stamp out embezzling and improve trust in charitable donations. As mentioned, with blockchain technology, financial transparency within private companies is much easier to achieve. However, arguably, it's most important for charities that face a lack of public trust. Coins like AidCoin are designed to stamp out illegitimate charities and demonstrate how cryptos can be used for the common good. They aim to help donators keep track of where their money is going and force charities to be more transparent. Charities can take advantage of the transparency benefits of the blockchain, says Garnsey. This has the potential to change the way not-for-profit organizations operate in the future. Chapter 3. The King of Crypto, the Bitcoin. from the definition given directly by the creator, Satoshi Nakamoto, that is the most important form for the Bitcoin community. There's nothing to relate it Bitcoin to. What is a Bitcoin? BTC. Bitcoin is the first digital decentralized currency as it can be read in the bitcoin.org website and is defined as a purely peer-to-peer version of electronic cash that would allow online payments to be sent directly from one party to another without going through a financial institution. In these multiples, basic definitions are clear that the single word Bitcoin has a lot to tell. First of all, the word Bitcoin with B, capital letter, is the whole network of payments, where there is traded a new kind of decentralized value. That means that there is not an entity that controls the emission and regulates it, the Bitcoin with lowercase b. The creation of this new type of currency arises from the need to disengage from the traditional online payments method, which in addition to the two parties that have to make an exchange, includes a trusted third party, financial institutions. These act as guarantors to avoid the problem of double spending that consists of spending the same currency twice as being digital. In this regard, the Bitcoin network offers a solution to this double spending problem by providing an electronic payment system no longer based on trust, and therefore on financial institutions, but on cryptography, implementing a mechanism of confirmation and maintaining a universal ledger called blockchain cash monetary system. Therefore, the problem of the necessary control for the normal exchanges in legal value is also solved in this case. In fact, the data are diffused and distributed in the network and guaranteed through the adhesion of every single user to a unique protocol, compliant and difficult to force despite the open source nature of the Bitcoin network. At this point, it becomes important to clarify some points related to the key concept of decentralization, as both the software and the protocol of adhesion of individual users have been created by the creator Satoshi Nakamoto, and this could generate doubts and perplexities, as one might think that he could act as a central authority. The problem is dispelled considering that, as mentioned previously, the nature of the software is open source and free. In fact, every single user can bring improvements to the protocol, although the latter is difficult to force deep, because each node is then free to choose which version of the software to use as long as it complies with the rules and the protocol used by the other nodes. This last point of fundamental importance because it highlights the aspect of consensus between users and developers for the network to work, and this also makes it difficult to centralize the system and to regulate it. To conclude then, it can be said how Bitcoin can be defined as a new innovative payment system whose control is no longer in the hands of a central authority that regulates everything, but in which, thanks to the diffusion of specific software and protocol, are possible transactions of virtual currency not regulated by a third party that acts as a guarantor. Bitcoin advantages. Freedom in payment. With Bitcoin, it is possible to be able to send and get money anywhere in the world at any given time. You do not have to worry about crossing borders, rescheduling for bank holidays, or any other limitations one might think will occur when transferring money. You are in control of your money with Bitcoin. There is no central authority figure in the Bitcoin network. Control and security. Allowing users to be in control of their transactions help keep Bitcoin safe for the network. Merchants cannot charge extra fees on anything without being noticed. They must talk with the consumer before adding any charges. Payments in Bitcoin can be made and finalized without personal information being tied to the transactions. Because personal information is kept hidden from prying eyes, Bitcoin protects against identity theft. Bitcoin can be backed up and encrypted to ensure the safety of your money. Information is transparent. With the blockchain, all finalized transactions are available for everyone to see. However, personal information is hidden. Your public address is what is visible. However, your personal information is not tied to this. Anyone at any time can verify transactions in the Bitcoin blockchain. Bitcoin protocol cannot be manipulated by any person, organization, or government. This is due to Bitcoin being cryptographically secure. Very low fees. Currently, there are either no fees or very low fees within Bitcoin payments. With transactions, users might include fees to process the transactions faster. The higher the fee, the more priority it gets within the network, and the quicker it gets processed. Digital currency exchanges help merchants process transactions by converting Bitcoins into fiat currency. These services generally have lower fees than credit cards and PayPal. Fewer risks for merchants. Because Bitcoin transactions cannot be reversed, do not carry with them personal information, and are secure, merchants are protected from potential losses that might occur from fraud. With Bitcoin, merchants can do business where crime rates and fraud rates may be high. This is because it is very hard to cheat or con anyone in Bitcoin due to the public ledger, otherwise known as the blockchain. Now that we've covered the basic advantages, we can move on to the disadvantages. Three main ones need to be pointed out. This is so you can get an overall idea of what to expect with Bitcoin. Bitcoin disadvantages. Lack of awareness and understanding. Fact is, many people are still unaware of digital currencies and Bitcoin. People need to be educated about Bitcoin to be able to apply it to their lives. Networking is a must to spread the word on Bitcoin. Businesses are accepting Bitcoins because of the advantages, but the list is relatively small compared to physical currencies. Companies like Tiger Direct and Overstock.com accept Bitcoin as payment. However, if they do not have a knowledgeable staff that understands digital currencies, how will they help customers understand and use Bitcoins for transactions? The workers need to be educated on Bitcoin so that they can help the customers. This will take some time and effort. Otherwise, what is the benefit of such large companies accepting Bitcoin if its staff doesn't even know what digital currencies are? Risk and volatility. Bitcoin has volatility mainly because there is a limited amount of coins and the demand for them increases. However, it is expected that the volatility will decrease as more time goes on. As more businesses, media, and trading centers begin to accept Bitcoin, its price will eventually settle down. Currently, Bitcoin's price bounces every day, mainly due to current events that are related to digital currencies. Still developing. Bitcoin is still in its infancy stage, with incomplete features that are in development. To make the digital currency more secure and accessible, new features, tools, and services are currently being developed. Bitcoin has some growth to do before it comes to its full and final potential. This is because Bitcoin is just starting, and it needs to work out its problems just like any currency in its beginning stage would need to do. Chapter 4. Characteristics of Cryptocurrencies. Cryptocurrencies are digital currencies independent of any central unit, which use cryptography to verify transactions and adjust the issuance of new currency units. The main characteristics of Bitcoins, also common with those of other major cryptocurrencies, are decentralization. It has not been established. Any central authority controls it. Many independent entities in decentralized and perform transactions checking distributed manner, so the presence of banks and other subjects regulated is no longer necessary. It is not subject to monetary policies. The absence of central authority involves also the impossibility that any subject exercises coercive actions on the currency. such as the increase or decrease of currency units in circulation. The money supply is established a priori by the protocol that it increases over time up to the maximum set limit of 21 million units. It has no legal tender. It is accepted as a means of payment only on a voluntary basis, and therefore cannot be used to pay off obligations if the creditor refuses to accept them. Pseudonym. Transactions take place between public addresses from which it is practically impossible to trace the real identity of the natural or legal person that processes the virtual currency exchange. But user identity remains unknown until it is revealed during a transaction or in other cases, so these addresses should be used only once for each transaction. Transparent. All transactions are recorded in a register open to the public, the blockchain, which anyone can view. Exploring blockchain, it's possible to know how many bitcoins every single address at any given time, going back to the addresses given to them. Low transaction costs. The absence of subjects that interfere in transactions reduces the costs. On average, the transactions include a debit to the sender of 0.0001 BTC as a commission, but the amount may be greater or void depending on certain conditions, which will be discussed later. Fast and irreversible transactions. Every Bitcoin transaction takes on average 10 minutes to be confirmed. These transactions are irreversible, that is to say, impossible to cancel. Chapter 5. How to store and use crypto. There are several ways to get Bitcoins, some simple and some more complex. On the other hand, there are always growing businesses, both physical and online, where they can be spent. However, before thinking of how to get and spend Bitcoins, and need to be able to do it to receive, and once received, to be able to keep them safe without risking losing them, or to have them stolen. For this purpose, it is necessary to have a Bitcoin wallet, an electronic wallet which performs the same functions as a portfolio, that is, the custody of your money, which in this case is digital. Bitcoin wallets. Bitcoin wallets are not exactly the equivalent of a currency account, though the graphical interface offered by the various wallet services allows you to know at any time the total of the Bitcoin possessed and the movements in and out as a kind of account statement in real time. These are not contained within a portfolio, but are stored in a register open to the public, the blockchain, below specific addresses belonging to different users. Addresses are reception points in sending them and are presented in the form of alphanumeric codes of 33 or 34 characters, generally starting with 1, so as not to contain any user reference, making Bitcoin a pseudonym payment system. The addresses derive using algorithms from other codes, the so-called public keys, and these once again derive through other algorithms from the so-called private keys, so that starting from the address, it is impossible to trace the original public key, and from this to the private key. Through the encryption of digital signatures, only the private key's possession authorizes the user to spend the associated Bitcoins at the address derived from it. For this reason, the private key does not have to be rendered public, but must be kept in order to not run the risk of someone else taking possession of it. These wallets store the user's private keys, which allow him to spend the Bitcoins associated with the precise address that derives from the public key, that in turn derives from the private key in question. This is what happens behind the scenes. The wallet offers the user an intuitive interface, similar to that of an online banking app, that allows him to view the Bitcoin balance at his disposal of all the different addresses he has, giving him the possibility to make outgoing transactions towards certain beneficiaries or to receive payments at a specific address. When you create a new wallet, 100 pairs of them are automatically generated private and public keys, a key pool mechanism, for which the user can use multiple addresses to enjoy greater levels of privacy. So every transaction is registered in the blockchain, and anyone can see all the movements of an address. If an individual is able to associate an address with a physical identity, then, for example, to bargaining where payment details were exchanged, these can control all the movements. For this reason, change often the address is a guarantee of greater privacy. There are different types of portfolios, only a few are mentioned, to choose from, depending on the levels of user experience, security, and complexity desired, types of devices used, if smartphones, desktop computers, and even there is the ability to choose between operating systems. Desktop wallet. It is a software to install on your computer that allows you to store private keys on the hard disk. The installation of this software generally requires the download of the entire blockchain. They are available for different operating systems, Windows, Mac, Linux. The security that guarantees this type of wallet can be high, but only if you take the necessary precautions. In fact, if the device is not protected by antivirus, or the wallet has not been encrypted with an appropriate password, the user runs the risk that some hackers steal the private keys from their PC. Or anyway, if the same was lost or left unattended, anyone would have access to the wallet and could spend the bitcoins. Finally, it is highly recommended to make periodic backups of the wallet to recover the private keys if the PC is damaged or lost. Mobile wallets. Wallet applications for smartphones make it possible to keep, send, or receive bitcoins from your mobile phone quickly and easily. This type of application does not require the download of the entire blockchain, but only a part of it, relying on information from other network nodes. As for desktop wallets, it is recommended to make periodic backups. Online wallet. Services offered by different websites stores private keys, storing them in an online server placed under their protection. In other words, the user entrusts their Bitcoin's custody to third parties, in this case a website. Typically, online wallets are offered on an ancillary basis by exchanges. Considering the unpleasant inconveniences that happened to some of these exchanges in the past, probably this type of wallet is not the safest, but it is easier and faster to use, as it can be accessed from any device connected to the internet. So, keep a lot of bitcoins in these types of wallets is not particularly suitable, while for small but frequent transactions are undoubtedly the most practical to use. Paper wallet. Private and public keys can be stored directly for the same user on paper, supports and kept so protected from hackers and possible failures of their electronic devices. Once you've exported your paper wallet, the public key is not more memorized digitally anywhere, so it is recommended to keep it appropriately and maybe create some copies for security. The address can normally receive payments, but to spend such bitcoins, the user must re-import their private key online or on a software wallet to sign the outgoing transactions. From this point of view, the security offered by a paper wallet is very high and works great as a long-term Bitcoin deposit, but is more complicated to use. Hardware wallets. These are devices created specifically for storing private keys, Bitcoin addresses, and other cryptocurrencies. It is not done concerning the other types of wallets entrusting to third parties to conserve the codes. There is no risk that a hacker steals them, and they do not have to be re-imported online or in one software to make outgoing transactions. The hardware wallets are mini computers with a single function, digitally signing transactions with the user's private keys. These usually connect to the computer via USB and safely interact with the software wallet even if the computer is compromised. The user checks the correctness of the address from the computer to send Bitcoins and authorize the transactions by entering a PIN number on your hardware wallet, which hackers cannot intercept. Chapter 6. Buying Cryptocurrencies. Once illustrated how to store Bitcoin, it is good to know how they can be obtained. Obviously, the ways to buy them are many, shown below. Buy them from people willing to sell them. LocalBitcoins.com is the leading face-to-face exchange website platform and is present in more than 16,000 cities and 248 countries, including Italy. Who wants to buy Bitcoins can decide whether to exchange online, choosing one of the various payment methods such as bank transfer, PayPal, PostPay, Skrill, MoneyBooker, or arrange a physical meeting with the seller and exchange Bitcoins for cash, and how much you can find offers also relatively close in geographical terms. Face-to-face meetings must take place in places where internet access is available, necessary for processing transactions, while for online exchanges, it is always recommended to check seller feedback. Another similar platform is a social network that brings together groups of people by areas of interest, including Bitcoins. Some of these groups organize periodic meetings to which it is possible to participate and have direct contact with the topic and with the people of the community. Another interesting opportunity is represented by the so-called Satoshi S Square, which are public events mainly in large cities where a public square or park is transformed into an open-air Bitcoin market. The first was organized by Josh Rossi as a tribute to Wall Street, held in New York in May 2013. In addition to facilitating the exchange, these events have contributed to giving public evidence, thus allowing better communication and information. Buying at online exchanges. Many sites on the web allow Bitcoins to be purchased for legal tender or other cryptocurrencies. These platforms play the role of market makers by fixing exchange rates to which the exchange buys or sells Bitcoins in exchange for the main traditional currencies or currencies of other virtual currencies. Buying at Bitcoin ATMs is a much quicker purchase or sale service than exchange online and offered by Bitcoin ATMs. The first ATM Bitcoin, produced by an American company, RoboCoin, was installed in 2013 at the Waves Coffee House in Vancouver, Canada, and already in its first day of operation, recorded as many as 81 transactions, totaling over $10,000. There are currently 3,480 Bitcoin ATMs in 72 countries, of which 17 in Italy, and the number is constantly increasing. In circulation, there are different models, among which the most widespread ones. These devices are almost always of two types. One, unidirectional, that is, they allow to convert only legal currency into Bitcoins. Two, bidirectional, the ones that instead allow both to buy and to sell Bitcoins in exchange for legal tender. Compared to the options listed above, that represented by ATMs, Bitcoin is more easily and immediately used. If you already own an electronic wallet, buy or sell Bitcoins can take anywhere from 15 to 30 seconds, while if you were faced with a RoboCoin kiosk or a BitAccess, can create a new wallet and buy some coins all in less than 5 minutes, thus reducing the time required for authentication normally from an online exchange. In general, the process of buying or selling Bitcoins through an ATM takes place in the following phases. 1. Verification phase. This phase is possible given that not all ATM models in circulation foresee it. The verification can consist of the simple insertion of a code that the machine sends to the user by text message after inserting the mobile number. In the presence of more sophisticated models, it consists of the user's real personal and physical recognition. This is the case of RoboCoin kiosk, which can only be accessed by creating a personal account. The device at the customer's first access captures scans of the identity document or passport, or the face or the palm, from which the second access and then the verification will come by simply placing the palm on the scanner and entering the numeric PIN chosen. 2. Entering the Bitcoin address. This step is performed by scanning the QR code associated with the electronic wallet in which you want to receive Bitcoins or from which you want to withdraw Bitcoins in exchange for money. Some of these ATMs also allow the generation of new addresses at the time of use. 3. Selection of the cash amount that you want to change into Bitcoin and its insertion into the slot. In the case of two-way ATMs, it is possible to convert Bitcoins into legal currency while always depending on the model of the device, and it is also possible to buy other cryptocurrencies. 4. Confirmation of the operation. Selling goods and services in exchange for Bitcoins. Currently, this option is more easily negotiated by those who conduct a business. Always more numerous in stores, both physical and online, accepting Bitcoin in payments exchanged for goods and services. The easiest way for a merchant to accept payments in Bitcoins from their customers and communicate the address and wait for these payments with your smartphone. However, they are constantly growing services aimed at simplifying and speeding up foreign currency payment procedures. 5. Mining. It is the activity of validation and registration of Bitcoin transactions that happens continuously in the system. This activity is carried out by the nodes of the network that, for this reason, they are called miners, and it consists of doing their computer with complex cryptographic problems in a repetitive way. It's expensive in terms of electricity consumption and wear and tear on the equipment. Mining is incentivized by a precise system of rewards, consisting of Bitcoins of a new issue and quantity, and with times established by the protocol, and represents the only creation and entering of new currency units. Each node works autonomously, simultaneously, and in competition with everyone from the other nodes to solve the problem first and win the reward. Alternatively, the nodes can work together in groups called mining pools, sharing their computational strength to get more chance to get rewards in competition with other autonomous nodes or other groups. The total computing power of Bitcoin is given by the sum of the powers of all the devices made available by the nodes, and it is important because from this derives the difficulty in cryptographic problems to be solved by miners. This difficulty, yes, automatically adjusts, so that increasing the total power also increases the difficulty and vice versa, ensuring that transaction is always validated within a certain amount of time, 10 minutes, and the rewards are the same constantly. The Bitcoin system solves this double spending problem cleverly. The transaction that is first added to a valid block candidate and therefore added to the blockchain is considered confirmed. the system ceases to process the other one. That is, miners will stop adding the conflicting transactions to their block candidates. Moreover, a miner can't add conflicting transactions to the same block candidate. Such a block would be illegitimate and thus be rejected by all the other network participants. Where to use BTC. Bitcoins in particular, but also some similar cryptocurrencies, can be used for the purchase of goods and services. To find the shops that accept the payments of goods and services with virtual currency, it is useful to consult the coinmap.org website, which includes a map that provides the nearby stores' locations. Moreover, it is possible to consult, especially for the Italian market, the QUI Bitcoin application, which indicates these stores' positions that accept this type of payment and traces the Bitcoin ATMs already mentioned above. These figures are still few in Italy because of the still rather long transaction times. Many of those who accept this type of payment use the US BitPay provider and recently the new Conio service, which allows the merchant to accept Bitcoin payments and choose whether to receive Bitcoin or Euro in exchange. As far as e-commerce is concerned, cryptocurrencies are easier to use. In fact, they are widely used and appreciated by sellers because, as already mentioned, it has the undeniable advantage of the payment irreversibility after about 10 minutes for validation operation. Chapter 7. The Altcoins. The fundamental open source feature of the Nakatomi project allowed the participation of many developers who, since the creation of Bitcoin in 2009, have made an essential contribution to software development and the correction of defects, such as the vulnerability of the system, and then started the creation of similar projects that allowed for the so-called altcoins. To date, according to estimates by CoinMarketCap.com, there are 1,865 cryptocurrencies for a market capitalization equal to more than $211 trillion US, and the number of cryptocurrencies is constantly growing. Many of these cryptocurrencies use the same basic mechanisms as Bitcoin, while others propose different solutions, uses, and functionalities compared to Nakatomo's initial project. Among the most important, we find Ethereum, which has 4 characteristics in common with Bitcoin, or has an underlying cryptocurrency, an intrinsic blockchain, a mechanism of decentralization based on proof of work, and miners who help the network. But the project Ethereum moves towards a diametrically opposite direction concerning the Bitcoin project. Also, Ethereum's cryptocurrency, Ether, ETH, deviates from the Bitcoin currency because its main use is not the payment of goods or services, nor the fact of being a digital version of gold, but rather it is similar to a distribution incentive, a sort of fuel crypto, necessary to pay the transaction costs to run the various smart business logic programs that users send to the blockchain. Besides, to be a network fuel, Ethereum is also marketable as a cryptocurrency on a variety of open trades, but it is expected that appreciation of its value will be more influenced by the quantity and wealth of transaction demand rather than by the action of speculators, as happened with Bitcoin. Also, the Ethereum blockchain was designed to be fully programmable and is most cost-effective than Bitcoin's, being more scalable, a key requirement for the long-term convenience of a heavily trafficked blockchain. Since it is not focused on carrying out financial transactions, the purpose of the Ethereum blockchain is different from that of the Bitcoin blockchain. On Ethereum, there are no limits to the size of a block, and the system adjusts dynamically as a whole, as part of its basic design. Also, Ethereum continues to work to improve the aspects relevant to scalability, and this will have the direct benefit of lowering overall transaction costs. In general, by considering what the desirable characteristics of a blockchain are, they come to mind the following, which are the same characteristics in which Ethereum excels: programmability, scalability, updatability, management of transactions, visibility, convenience, security, speed and performance, high availability, and extensibility. Bitcoin versus other major cryptocurrencies. Cryptocurrencies are virtual currencies that operate independently of banks and governments but can still be exchanged or speculated on, just like any physical currency. Launched in 2009, Bitcoin was the first decentralized cryptocurrency. Since then, thousands of more cryptocurrencies, known as altcoins, have launched. While Bitcoin remains the market leader, cryptocurrencies including Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin Gold, Ether, Ethereum, Ripple, EOS, Stellar, and Neo could challenge in the future because of rising demand, expanded applications, and technical advantages. Bitcoin, BTC, the original, and for now the biggest, by market capitalization. In 2009, Satoshi Nakamoto launched a pseudonym for the mysterious person or group who created it to secure payments across a peer-to-peer network. It aims to eliminate the need for a trusted third party, democratize money, and ensure that transactions are anonymous. Biggest pro? It's the best-known currency. Biggest con? Slow transaction speeds, requires specialist mining equipment. Bitcoin Cash, BCH. Bitcoin Cash is a standalone digital currency created as an offshoot of Bitcoin in August 2017. This was in response to the slowdown in Bitcoin transaction speeds and the network's inability to reach consensus on proposed upgrades. Bitcoin Cash's maximum block size is 8 megabytes, compared to 1 megabyte for Bitcoin, enabling it to process more transactions each second. Biggest pro? Faster transaction times than Bitcoin. Biggest con? Requires specialist mining equipment. Ripple, XRP. Ripple is a cryptocurrency underpinning a payment network called RippleNet, used by major banks and financial institutions, including Santander and American Express. Ripple operates differently from other digital currencies, which has led to some questions about its credentials as a truly decentralized cryptocurrency. Biggest pro? Lightning-fast transaction speeds. Biggest con? RippleNet can be used without its underlying cryptocurrency, Ripple Stellar, XLM. Stellar. Stellar is a payment network that operates similarly to RippleNet and can process transactions in multiple currencies. A cryptocurrency underpins it's called Lumens, XLM, commonly referred to as Stellar. Lumens can be used for payments on the network and play an anti-spam role, as each transaction requires a small transaction fee, which is paid for in the cryptocurrency. Biggest pro? Integrates with banks, used to process transactions in multiple currencies. Biggest con? Cryptocurrency not as widely recognized as some others. Ether, ETH. Ether is the cryptocurrency of the Ethereum network, enabling users to code and release their own decentralized applications and create smart contracts that automatically enforce their clauses. Small amounts of Ether as transactions are processed, preventing hackers from spamming the network. Biggest pro? Use beyond cryptocurrency on the Ethereum network. Fast transaction speeds. Biggest con? Uncapped supply means that it could be inflationary. Litecoin, LTC. Litecoin is designed to be the silver to Bitcoin's gold, according to its founder Charlie Lee. And just as the supply of silver outstrips the supply of gold, Litecoin's maximum supply of 84 million coins is 4 times greater than Bitcoin's. There are also some fundamental technological differences between the two. Biggest pro, fast transaction speeds. Biggest con, low market capitalization compared to Bitcoin. EOS. EOS is the cryptocurrency of EOS.io, a blockchain platform that replicates the key functionality of a computer's hardware and operating system. It provides developers with tools and services to build applications, including user accounts, authentication, and databases. Responsibility for processing and other operations is distributed across the network, which its designers claim will enable it to scale to millions of transactions per second in the future. Biggest pro? Integrated with the EOS.io network, fast transaction speeds. Biggest con? Uncapped supply means that it could be inflationary. NEO, or NEO. NEO is the name of both the cryptocurrency and the network it runs on. This network is like Ethereum in that it enables users to create decentralized apps and smart contracts. However, NEO apart is that its network is currently tightly controlled by the NEO team, which requires users to have a verifiable identity on the network. Biggest pro? Integrated with the NEO network, compliant with regulations in many jurisdictions. Biggest con? May not be truly decentralized. Chapter 8. The Blockchain. The blockchain is a set of blocks in which a set of subjects makes available to other computer resources, such as memory and CPU, to make available to a community of users a mainly public database. It exploits peer-to-peer technology and allows anyone to download, thus becoming a node of the network. It is essentially the accounting book in which all transactions made in Bitcoin since 2009 are made possible by the approval of 50% plus one of the nodes. These single block transactions occur continuously in the system, and on average every 10 minutes a new block is produced and attached to the chain so that the blocks are arranged in chronological order, starting from the block of origin, the so-called Genesis block. The same mechanism of the chain is also replicated for the transactions contained in the blocks, even if with some difference. In fact, every transaction is not connected to its previous one in chronological order, but to its transaction input, or the previous exchange, or to the previous exchanges, which provided bitcoins to the receiver so that they could be subsequently become the sender in the transaction in question. The blockchain can be considered a system whose single transaction and proceeding represents smaller and central particles to the outside. The block, which contains many of these transactions, and finally the multiple blocks containing the history of Bitcoin from its birth. The structure and functioning of the blockchain represent the main and fundamental technological innovation in the field of distributed systems. Therefore, it is defined as an open system of verification that does not need the bank's approval to carry out a transaction. Extrapolated from its original context, the blockchain has been used in all areas in which the relationship is needed between several people or groups, with considerable success over the years. Risks. Much like any other key innovation, blockchain technology introduces some risks. The following sections will consider some of these risks. As we mentioned in Section 3, we would like to note that this list is non-exhaustive. Forks. As discussed in Section 1.8, the Bitcoin protocol can be altered if the network participants, or at least a sufficient number, agree on the suggested modification. It can happen, and has happened, that a blockchain splits because various groups cannot agree about a modification. A split that persists is referred to as a fork. The two best-known examples of persistent splits are the Bitcoin Cash fork and Ethereum's ideological descent, which resulted in the split to Ethereum and Ethereum Classic. Energy wastage. Proof of work. Mining is expensive, as it uses a great deal of energy. Some criticize Bitcoin and assert that a centralized accounting system is more efficient because consensus can be attained without the allocation of massive amounts of computational power. From our perspective, however, the situation is not so clear-cut. Centralized payment systems are also expensive. Besides infrastructure and operating costs, one would have to calculate a central bank's explicit and implicit costs. Salary costs should be counted among the explicit costs, and the possibility of fraud in the currency monopoly among the implicit costs. Moreover, many crypto assets use alternative consensus protocols, which do not solely rely on computational resources. Bitcoin price volatility. The price of Bitcoin is highly volatile. This leads to whether the rigid predetermined supply of Bitcoin is a desirable monetary policy in the sense that it leads to a stable currency. The answer is no, because the price of Bitcoin also depends on aggregate demand. If a constant supply of money meets a fluctuating aggregate demand, the result is fluctuating prices. In government-run fiat currency systems, the central bank aims to adjust the money supply in response to changes in aggregate demand for money to stabilize the price level. In particular, the Federal Reserve System has been explicitly founded to provide an elastic currency to mitigate the price fluctuations that arise from changes in the aggregate demand for the US dollar. Since such a mechanism is absent in the current Bitcoin protocol, the Bitcoin unit will likely display much higher short-term price fluctuations than many government-run fiat currency units. Mining. The answer to questions on how to make decentralized payment possible, how to make up for the absence of a central authority as a guarantor of currency and transactions, and how to guarantee and nurture trust in a system so inherently different from traditional payment systems for the sensitivity to the security of money in mining. Often mistakenly reconnects mining activities to the production and emission of new bitcoins, even if this is not the main purpose of the activity. The crucial objective of this process is to maintain the integrity and authenticity of the blockchain, which for users of the Bitcoin platform represents a real bank account. Only if this register can maintain the characteristics mentioned above, users can rest assured that money belongs to them. If instead it proves to be fragile to counterfeiting attempts, for example, aimed at validation of the several inconsistent transactions, double spending, trust in the system would vanish, and Bitcoin would be doomed to fail. Anyone can theoretically do the mining activity if a user installs the Bitcoin client on their computer. Mining exploits the computational power of hardware devices made available by network modes. It is a difficult and time-consuming operation in terms of computer processing times, so that new blocks are produced within a fixed time frame, regardless of the number of transactions taking place in the network. If few transactions take place in the network, these cannot be put on hold until a certain threshold is reached. Otherwise, practicality as a payment system would vanish. Moreover, the first mined blocks did not contain any transactions except the Coinbase to create and put in circulation the first units of the currency. For each production of a new block, an established quantity of new bitcoins is issued, which belongs to the miner who first produced it. This total quantity also includes the total commissions of the transactions recorded in the block. In short, mining was conceived by Nakamoto to secure the blockchain, And this security is made possible by how many honest nodes are present in the network to make the work of dishonest nodes difficult, if not impossible. Instead, they want to modify the registry to their advantage to spend more times than the currency already spent. The honesty of the nodes is bought by the same protocol through a specific system of attribution of rewards, which encourage such honesty. Mining is a specific feature of the Bitcoin platform. Other cryptocurrencies, such as, for example, Ripple, is issued on the market by the company that invented it. What is mining and how it works? The production of the new blocks to be attached to the blockchain and the issue of the emission of new coins are closely linked. In fact, the production of each new block corresponds to the new issue of a preset quantity of Bitcoins. All this process on the Bitcoin platform is clear and established. Regardless of how many transactions occur in the system, every 2 weeks, an average of 2,016 new blocks must be produced, about one every 10 minutes, even in the absence of transactions. Moreover, every 2 weeks, if the new blocks produced deviate too much from the target number of 2016, the difficulty of producing a new block is revised downwards or upwards, depending on whether the output of new blocks has been lower or above 2016. Also, the maximum ceiling of Bitcoins in circulation is pre-established and is about 21 million units, not yet all in circulation. Finally, the quantity of new Bitcoins emitted at each production of a new one is also a fixed block. This reward originally stood at 50 BTC per block, but progressively halved every 2010 new blocks that equate to approximately 4 years. When the reward is close to zero in the future, the only remuneration for miners will be transaction fees. It is estimated that in the year 2040, the reward for each block will be less than 0.5 BTC, so the future of Bitcoin will depend on the diffusion that it will obtain as a payment system, as only if many transactions will take place will the miners be encouraged to continue their activity. Mining rules. Mining consists of a set of activities aimed at the correct and constant registration of the transactions that take place in the system. These activities are based on the resolution of a proof of work, i.e., the task to be performed on your computer that requires processing time. In particular, Bitcoin imposes the resolution of a cryptographic algorithm very similar to the hashcash function. Chapter 9. The Cryptocurrency's Economy. The technological innovation introduced with Bitcoin has led to the creation of a real ecosystem around this new payment system, an ecosystem in continuous evolution formed by different actors concerning the world of traditional payments and new business models, generally focused on obtaining and on services concerning the use, exchange, and investment of Bitcoins or other alternative cryptocurrencies. The economy of these cryptocurrencies is young, but in constant turmoil, and several actors gravitate around this world. Developers contribute to the development and improvement of systems from a technical point of view and the resolution of the vulnerabilities that are discovered. Miners allow the operation of some systems by validating and registering transactions in the blockchain, creating and obtaining new units as a reward, evaluates according to the methods already described. The profit opportunity offered by mining has attracted many subjects and many resources, especially since around the second half of 2013, which has become a real entrepreneurial activity, thanks also to the introduction in the market of equipment designed specifically for this purpose. Users. All the subject that for different purposes and needs use the various systems, from the merchants who accept them in exchange for goods and services to the people that can serve them for speculative purposes. Wallet service providers provide different types of portfolios, electronic, designed for different needs so that the user can receive, send, or keep Bitcoins. Exchange platforms. Purchase and sale service in exchange for various legal currencies, other cryptocurrencies, or precious metals. These are generally non-financial corporations. Financial services providers. Online platforms that offer investment opportunities on cryptocurrency. These subjects facilitate access to the crypto world, facilitating investment in startups or specific financial products, from ETFs to derivative products that bet on Bitcoin's price trend. Payment processors. Services that facilitate the acceptance of cryptocurrencies, like means of payment for both physical and online stores. Also offering services such as the immediate exchange in legal currency to avoid burdening the risk arising from the volatility of the cryptocurrency price in the merchant's financial statements. Other subjects. Category of subjects indirectly involved in the environment, but important to identify the overall turnover. Among these can be found companies that manufacture specific hardware for mining, wallets, and ATMs, those that develop software with different applications in the use of currency, and finally, all the startups that take advantage of the various technologies that of the blockchain as a basis for new applications, different from those of payments. According to the economic tradition, a currency to be defined as such must satisfy three main functions. 1. Value reserve. The currency must be able to preserve its value over time so that users can decide whether to use it immediately or accumulate it to spend it in the future. 2. Means of exchange. Money must act as a payment instrument in exchange for goods and services and must be commonly accepted. 3. Unit of account. The currency must perform the function of a common unit of measure, through which to determine the price of goods and facilitate the measurement of economic transactions. The behavior of Bitcoins about the three characteristics mentioned above and its possible evolution will be described below. It is considered the first function, that is, the value reserve function. It is impossible to establish whether the Bitcoin will retain its value in the future. Although there is a limit on the total number of cryptocurrency units in circulation, and this limit, together with all the other rules established by the protocol, are difficult to distort through substantial modifications, the future demand for Bitcoins cannot be predicted with certainty, a real determinant of the price of the cryptocurrency. The future demand for Bitcoins will depend on their future use as a payment tool. The Bitcoin's value is currently too volatile to be considered an instrument of value reserve, and it is very difficult to predict whether this volatility will persist in the future or if the Bitcoin will reach a stable price level. The medium of exchange function is that the Bitcoin seems to be able to satisfy more than all the others, and it is also that for which it has been conceived. With Bitcoin, you can make payments easily, quickly, with high levels of privacy, and low costs when compared to all other traditional payment systems. However, cryptocurrency is not universally accepted as a means of payment for goods and services, so it is still difficult to spend them, but there are constantly increasing businesses, both physical and online, willing to accept them. As seen above, the money volumes exchanged through Bitcoin are only a very small fraction of the total volumes exchanged through the traditional electronic payment systems. And this fraction is even tinier when it is considered that many Bitcoin transactions do not concern the purchase of goods or services, but are processed only for speculative purposes. However, even in the context of this second function, it cannot be exempted from considerations regarding the future of Bitcoin. Considering the mining activity and how it is reimbursed, it is necessary to outline the scenarios that could arise in the future when the rewards foresaw for the resolution of each block will be almost nil, and the only profitable source will be represented by the transaction fees. The first possible scenario could be the diffusion of bitcoins as a means of payment could lead to an increase in the number of daily transactions and therefore in the total revenues deriving from commissions, compensating for the cancellations of the rewards for the resolved blocks. The second scenario could foresee an increase in the cost of commissions, canceling one of the main advantages deriving from the use of cryptocurrency. The third possible scenario would be the abandonment of mining by numerous individuals or companies as it is no longer profitable, with the risk that this activity will be concentrated in the hands of a few subjects, or at worst, degenerate into a monopoly, deleting the most innovative feature of the system, or the decentralization. Therefore, not even the future use of bitcoins as a means of exchange is so certain, and it is difficult to predict currently. The last function, the units of account 1, is hardly satisfactory from the Bitcoin in its current state. The high volatility that characterizes the price of cryptocurrency is not always easy to use as a unit of measurement to determine the value of the assets. Traders should update good prices in bitcoins even several times throughout the day, since the exchange rate with the dollar or other legal currencies also changes several times in the day. For this reason, the prices of the goods remain in any case denominated in legal currency and converted into bitcoins at the time of sale according to the current exchange rate. From what has emerged so far, can be understood the Bitcoin's difficulty in satisfying in exhaustive ways of the three functions that are commonly expected from a legal currency, both currently and in the future. Since there is no central authority that imposes the use or acceptance of Bitcoin as a payment instrument, the future can only depend on the will of individuals to use and accept it. Some doubts hover around the Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies as regards their diffusion. The first is linked to the high price volatility, as already mentioned. The maximum preset limit of Bitcoin units in circulation, 21 million unit cap, makes its offer curve inelastic, insensitive to the variations in the cryptocurrency demand of the individual, variations that are reflected in its price. Even in the hypothesis that the market discovered the real value of Bitcoin as a medium of exchange, however, changes in the demand for Bitcoin would determine more or less consistent price fluctuations, considering that the demand can vary due to many factors, for example, to the seasonality of sales or economic cycles. If the offer will be rendered more elastic, increasing or decreasing the rewards for block resolution about the number of transactions processed in a predetermined period, or by changing the protocol and introducing new units of money, the effects of changes in demand would reflect the same in price, but a less accentuated manner, ensuring greater stability. Another doubt is related to the possibility that Bitcoin may one day lose its original characteristics. As mentioned earlier, transaction fees may not be enough to reimburse miners' work and generate negative effects, but Bitcoin's competitiveness may well persist with some of the traditional payment systems. Instead, the progressive abandonment of mining by miners with lower computational powers, which would no longer be able to meet the costs of electricity and maintenance, would focus this activity in the hands of a few individuals, or even a single miner that would become a kind of central authority to carry out a 51% attack as mentioned in the previous chapter. In this situation would appear a real failure of Bitcoin as a decentralized system. The confidence in the correctness of the blockchain could be less seen the enormous powers of fraud in the hands of the monopolist, with serious repercussions in the use of cryptocurrency, and finally in its value. In light of what has been analyzed up to now, it can be concluded that Bitcoin is very difficult to replace legal currencies in the future, since it does not seem to be able to satisfy the functions of value reserve and unit of account. The Bitcoin as a medium of exchange could instead find even wider consents in the future, considering the amount of innovation brought by the phenomenon of cryptocurrencies and blockchain. Fundamental for this diffusion would be the development of services connected to the world of cryptocurrency, which will offer greater security guarantees and make this world, if possible, even easier and more accessible. The decisions of the governments regarding the legislative and fiscal qualifications to include Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies will also be fundamental. Chapter 10. The Cryptocurrency Trading and Market Cap. Cryptocurrency trading is the act of speculating on cryptocurrency price movements via a CFD trading account or buying and selling the underlying coins via an exchange. CFD trading on cryptocurrencies. CFD trading are derivatives which enable you to speculate on cryptocurrency price movements without taking ownership of the underlying coins. You can go long buy if you think a cryptocurrency will rise in value, or short sell if you think it will fall. Both are leveraged products, meaning you only need to put up a small deposit, known as a margin, to gain full exposure to the underlying market. Your profit or loss are still calculated according to your position's full size, so that leverage will magnify both profits and losses. Buying and selling cryptocurrencies via an exchange. When you buy cryptocurrencies via an exchange, you purchase the coins themselves. You'll need to create an exchange account, put up the asset's full value to open a position, and store the cryptocurrency tokens in your wallet until you're ready to sell. Exchanges bring their steep learning curve, as you'll need to get to grips with the technology involved and learn how to make sense of the data. Many exchanges also limit how much you can deposit, while accounts can be expensive to maintain. How do cryptocurrency markets work? Cryptocurrency markets are decentralized, which means they are not issued or backed by a central authority such as a government. Instead, they run across a network of computers. However, cryptocurrencies can be bought and sold via exchanges and stored in digital wallets. Unlike traditional currencies, cryptocurrencies exist only as a shared digital record of ownership, stored on a blockchain. When a user wants to send cryptocurrency units to another user, they send it to that user's digital wallet. The transaction isn't considered final until it has been verified and added to the blockchain through a process called mining. This is also how new cryptocurrency tokens are usually created. What moves cryptocurrency markets? Cryptocurrency markets move according to supply and demand. However, as they are decentralized, they tend to remain free from any economic and political concerns that affect traditional currencies. While there is still a lot of uncertainty surrounding cryptocurrencies, the following factors can have a significant impact on their prices. Supply. The total number of coins and the rate at which they are released, destroyed, or lost. Market capitalization. The value of all the coins in existence, and how users perceive this to be developing. Press. The way cryptocurrency is portrayed in the media and how much coverage it is getting. Integration. The extent to which the cryptocurrency easily integrates into existing infrastructure, such as e-commerce payment systems. Key events. Major events such as regulatory updates, security breaches, and economic setbacks. How does cryptocurrency trading work? You can trade cryptocurrencies via a CFD account, derivative products that enable you to speculate on whether your chosen cryptocurrency will rise or fall in value. Prices are quoted in traditional currencies such as the US dollar, and you never take ownership of the cryptocurrency itself. CFDs are leveraged products, which means you can open a position for just a fraction of the trade's full value. Although leveraged products could magnify your profits, they could magnify losses if the market moves against you. What is the spread in cryptocurrency trading? The spread is the difference between the buy and sell prices quoted for a cryptocurrency. Like many financial markets, you'll be presented with two prices when you open a position on a cryptocurrency market. If you want to open a long position, you trade at the buy price, which is slightly above the market price. If you want to open a short position, you trade at the selling price, slightly below the market price. What is a lot in cryptocurrency trading? Cryptocurrencies are often traded in lots. Batches of cryptocurrency tokens are used to standardize trade size. As cryptocurrencies are very volatile, lots tend to be very small. More are just 1 unit of the base cryptocurrency. However, some cryptocurrencies are traded in bigger lots. What is leverage in cryptocurrency trading? Leverage is the means of gaining exposure to large amounts of cryptocurrency without having to pay the full value of your trade up front. Instead, you put down a small deposit known as a margin. When you close a leveraged position, your profit or loss is based on the trade's full size. Why trade cryptocurrencies? When you trade cryptocurrencies, you speculate on whether your chosen market will rise or fall in value without ever taking ownership of the digital asset. This is done by using derivative products such as CFDs. The benefits of cryptocurrency trading include cryptocurrency volatility. Although the cryptocurrency market is relatively new, it has experienced significant volatility due to huge amounts of short-term speculative interest. For example, between October 2017 and October 2018, Bitcoin's price rose as high as $19,378 and fell to as low as $5,851. Other cryptocurrencies have been comparatively more stable, but new technologies are often likely to attract speculative interest. The volatility of cryptocurrencies is part of what makes this market so exciting. Rapid intraday price movements can provide a range of opportunities for traders to go long and short and increase risk. If you decide to explore the cryptocurrency market, make sure that you have done your research and developed a risk management strategy. Cryptocurrency market hours. The cryptocurrency market is usually available to trade 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, because there is no centralized market governance. Cryptocurrency transactions take place directly between individuals on cryptocurrency exchanges all over the world. However, there may be periods of downtime when the market adjusts to infrastructural updates or forks. You can trade cryptocurrencies against fiat currencies such as the US dollar. Improved liquidity. Liquidity is the measure of how quickly and easily a cryptocurrency can be converted into cash without impacting the market price. Liquidity is important because it brings about better pricing, faster transaction times, and increased technical analysis accuracy. In general, the cryptocurrency market is considered illiquid because the transactions are dispersed across multiple exchanges, which means that comparatively small trades can significantly impact market prices. This is part of the reason cryptocurrency markets are so volatile. Ability to go long or short. When you buy a cryptocurrency, you are purchasing the asset up front, hoping to increase value. But when you trade on the price of a cryptocurrency, you can take advantage of markets that are falling in price as well as rising. This is known as going short. 1. Short selling. 2. Going long. For example, let's say that you have decided to open a short CFD position on Ether's price where you believe the market is going to fall. If you were right and the value of Ether against the US dollar falls, your trade would profit. However, if the value of Ether against the US dollar rises, your position will be making a loss. Leveraged exposure. As CFD trading is a leveraged product, it enables you to open a position on margin, a deposit worth just a fraction of the trade's full value. In other words, you could gain a large exposure to a cryptocurrency market while only tying up a relatively small amount of your capital. The profits or loss you make from your cryptocurrency trades will reflect the full value of the position at the point it is closed. So trading on margin offers you the opportunity to make large profits from a relatively small investment. However, it can also amplify any losses, including losses that could exceed your initial deposit for the individual trade. This is why it is crucial to consider the total value of the leveraged position before trading CFDs. It is also important to ensure that you have suitable risk management strategies in place, which should include the appropriate stops and limits. When you buy cryptocurrencies, you'll need to buy and sell via an exchange, which requires you to create an exchange account and store the cryptocurrency in your digital wallet. This process can be restrictive and time-consuming. You won't need access to the exchange directly with certain cryptocurrency traders because they're exposed to the underlying market on your behalf. You won't need to set up and manage an exchange account so that you could be set up and ready to trade much more quickly. You could be trading in less than 5 minutes. What is the leverage? Leverage enables you to gain a large exposure to a financial market while only tying up a relatively small amount of your capital. In this way, leverage magnifies the scope for both gains and losses. Is leveraged dealing risky? Even though you only put up a relatively small amount of capital to open a position, your profit or loss is based on the full value of the position. Therefore, the amount you gain or lose could be relatively large compared to your initial outlay. Protect against adverse movements for free. Set a stop loss to close your position automatically if the market moves against you. There's no trigger charge, but no guarantee of protection against slippage, so your position could be closed out at a worse level if the market gaps. Choose exactly where your trade closes. Attach a guaranteed stop to your position and it will always be closed out exactly the price you specified. What's more, you'll only pay for your stop if it's triggered. If this happens, our guaranteed stop premiums offer excellent value in the market for most major indices and FX pairs. Don't miss out on profits. Place a trailing stop when you open your trade, and it will move with your profits. If the market turns, your position will close out at your trailing stop's new level, so you can lock in profits without the need to monitor your position and adjust your stop. Like regular stop losses, trailing stops don't protect against slippage. Take profits automatically. Many cryptocurrency trading applications offer limit orders in line with your profit target, so you can close your position automatically when your price hits your chosen level. Stay on top of market movement. Set price alerts to be notified by text or email when a market reaches your specified price. They can be set up on web-based platforms and in applications. Unlike the text and email alerts, push alerts pop up on the trading platform when using a PC or the application on your mobile device. Always know your profit and loss. Keep an eye on the always visible balance snapshots on trading platforms. React quickly if the market moves against you, and deal out almost instantly to protect a profit or minimize a loss. What is the market cap of a cryptocurrency? Crypto market capitalization, or crypto market cap for short, is a widely used metric used to compare the relative size of different cryptocurrencies. On Coin Codex, the market cap is the default metric by which we rank cryptocurrencies on our front page. We also track the total cryptocurrency market cap by adding the market cap of all cryptocurrencies listed on CoinDex. The total market cap provides an estimate of whether the cryptocurrency market as a whole is growing or declining. How is the crypto market cap calculated? A cryptocurrency's market cap is calculated by taking the cryptocurrency's price per unit and multiplying it with the cryptocurrency's circulating supply. The formula is simple. Market cap equals price times circulating supply. Circulating supply refers to the number of units of a cryptocurrency currently existing and can be transacted with. Let's quickly calculate the market cap of Bitcoin as an example. If the current Bitcoin price is $32,109 and there are 18.5 million BTC coins in circulation, we use the above formula, multiply the two numbers, and arrive at a market cap of $596.95 billion. Does market cap matter in cryptocurrency? Crypto market cap matters because it is a useful way to compare different cryptocurrencies. If coin A has a significantly higher market cap than coin B, this tells us that coin A is likely adopted more widely by individuals and businesses and valued higher by the market. On the other hand, it could also indicate that coin B is undervalued relative to coin A. Even though the market cap is a widely used metric, it can sometimes be misleading. A good rule of thumb is that the usefulness of any given cryptocurrency's market cap metric increases in proportion with the cryptocurrency's trading volume. Suppose a cryptocurrency is actively traded and has deep liquidity across many different exchanges. In that case, it becomes much harder for single actors to manipulate prices and create an unrealistic market cap for the cryptocurrency. How can a cryptocurrency increase its market cap? A cryptocurrency's market cap increases when its price per unit increases. Alternatively, an increase in circulating supply can also lead to an increase in the market cap. However, an increase in supply also tends to lead to a lower price per unit, and the two cancel each other out at a large extent. In practice, an increase in price per unit is the main way a cryptocurrency's market cap grows. What is Bitcoin's market cap? The Bitcoin market cap is currently $596.95 billion. We arrive at this figure by multiplying the price of one Bitcoin and the circulating supply of Bitcoin. The Bitcoin price is currently $32,109, and its circulating supply is 18.59 million. If we multiply these two numbers, we arrive at a market cap of $596.95 billion. What is cryptocurrency circulating supply? The circulating supply of a cryptocurrency is the number of units that are currently available for use. Let's use Bitcoin as an example. There is a rule in the Bitcoin code which says that only 21 million Bitcoins can ever be created. The circulating supply of Bitcoin started at 0, but immediately started growing as new blocks were mined and new BTC coins were being created to reward the miners. Currently, there are around 18.52 million Bitcoins in existence, and this number will keep growing until the 21 millionth BTC is mined. Since 18.5 million BTC have been mined so far, we say that this is the circulating supply of Bitcoin. What is an altcoin? An altcoin is any cryptocurrency that is not Bitcoin. The word altcoin is short for alternative coin and is commonly used by cryptocurrency investors and traders to refer to all coins other than Bitcoin. Thousands of altcoins have been created so far following Bitcoin's launch in 2009. What is the difference between Bitcoin and altcoin? Bitcoin is the oldest and most established cryptocurrency and has a larger market cap than all other cryptocurrencies combined. Bitcoin is also the most widely adopted cryptocurrency and is accepted practically all businesses that deal with cryptocurrency. However, Bitcoin is far from the only player in the game, and numerous altcoins have reached multi-billion-dollar valuations. The second largest cryptocurrency is Ethereum, which supports smart contracts and allows users to make highly complex, decentralized applications. Ethereum has grown so large that the word altcoin is rarely used to describe it now. Generally, altcoins attempt to improve upon the basic design of Bitcoin by introducing technology that is absent from Bitcoin. This includes privacy technologies, different distributed ledger architectures, and consensus mechanisms. What is a stable coin? A stable coin is a crypto asset that maintains a stable value regardless of market conditions. This is commonly achieved by pegging the stable coin to a specific fiat currency such as the US dollar. Stablecoins are useful because they can still be transacted in blockchain networks while avoiding the price volatility of normal cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin and Ethereum. Outside of stablecoins, cryptocurrency prices can change rapidly, and it is not uncommon to see the crypto market gain or lose more than 10% in a single day. Now let's provide a simple theoretical example of how stablecoins' value stays stable. Let's say that a company creates stablecoin X, SCX, which is designed to trade as closely to $1 as possible at all times. The company will hold USD reserves equal to the number of SXC tokens in circulation and provide users the option to redeem one SCX token for $1. If the price of SCX is lower than $1, demand for SCX will increase because traders will buy it and redeem it for a profit. This will drive the price of SCX back towards $1. Tether's USDT was the first stablecoin ever launched and is still the most popular option on the market. What is DeFi? DeFi, decentralized finance, refers to a wide variety of decentralized applications that enable financial services such as lending, borrowing, and trading. DeFi applications are built on top of blockchain platforms such as Ethereum and allow anyone to access these financial services simply by using their cryptocurrency wallets. To give you a better idea of what kind of use cases are enabled by DeFi applications, let's quickly go through some major DeFi apps and what they accomplish. Maker. Users can post their cryptocurrencies as collateral to receive a loan in the form of DAI stablecoins. Compound. Users can borrow cryptocurrency or loan out their cryptocurrency to earn interest. Uniswap. Users can swap between different Ethereum-based tokens in a decentralized manner. DYDX, a decentralized platform where users can go long or short on cryptocurrencies. Chapter 11. Blockchain and the Banking System. Blockchain is transforming everything from payment transactions to how money is raised in the private market. Will the traditional banking industry embrace this technology or be replaced by it? Where is this data coming from? Email. Blockchain technology has received a lot of attention over the last few years, propelling beyond the praise of niche Bitcoin fanatics and into banking experts and investors' mainstream conversation. Last September, JP Morgan Chase CEO Jamie Dimon took a stab at Bitcoin. It's worse than the tulip bulbs. It won't end well. Someone is going to get killed. Lloyd Blankfein, head of Goldman Sachs, echoed that thought, saying, "Something that moves 20% overnight does not feel like a currency. It is a vehicle to perpetuate fraud." Despite the skepticism whether blockchain and decentralized ledger technology, DLT, will replace or revolutionize elements of the banking system remains to be seen. And this very loud and public backlash against cryptocurrencies from banks begs another question. What do banks have to be afraid of? Blockchain's role in banking. Blockchain technology provides a way for untrusted parties to agree on a database's state without using a middleman. By providing a ledger that nobody administers, a blockchain could provide specific financial services like payments or securitization without using a middleman like a bank. Further, blockchain allows for the use of tools like smart contracts, which could potentially automate manual processes from compliance and chains processing to distributing the contents of a will. For use cases that don't need a high degree of decentralization but could benefit from better coordination, blockchain's cousin distributed ledger technology, DLT, could help corporations establish better governance standards around data sharing and collaboration. With global banking currently a $134 trillion industry, blockchain technology and DLT could disintermediate key services that banks provide, including payments. By establishing a decentralized ledger for payments, such as Bitcoin, blockchain technology could facilitate faster payments at lower fees than banks. Clearance and settlement systems. Distributed ledgers can reduce operational costs and bring us closer to real-time transactions between financial institutions. Fundraising. Initial coin offerings, ICOs, experiment with new financing models that unbundle access to capital from traditional capital-raising services and firms. Securities. By tokenizing traditional securities, such as stocks, bonds, and alternative assets, and placing them on public blockchains, blockchain technology could create more efficient, interoperable capital markets. Loans and credit. By removing the need for gatekeepers in the loan and credit industry, blockchain technology can make it more secure to borrow money and provide lower interest rates. Trade finance. By replacing cumbersome, paper-heavy bills of lading process in the trade finance industry, blockchain technology can create more transparency, security, and trust among trade parties globally. Read on for a deep dive into how blockchain technology could turn the traditional banking industry on its head while enabling new business models through technology. 1. Payments. Blockchain technology offers a high-security, low-cost way of sending payments that cut down on the need for verification from third parties and beats processing times for traditional bank transfers. 90% of members of the European Payment Council believe blockchain technology will fundamentally change the industry by 2025. Today, trillions of dollars are sloshing worldwide via an antiquated system of slow payments and added fees. If you work in San Francisco and want to send part of your paycheck back to your family in London, you might have to pay a $25 flat fee for a wire transfer, and additional fees adding up to 7%. Your bank gets a cut, the receiving bank gets a cut, and you are charged exchange rate fees. Your family's bank might not even register the transaction until a week later. Despite more recent fluctuations, the number of confirmed Bitcoin transactions per day has grown roughly 6 times, from just over 50,000 in the summer of 2014 to 290,000 as of December 2018. Facilitating payments is highly profitable for banks, providing them with little incentive to lower fees. From payments to letters of credit, cross-border transactions generated 40% of global payments transactional revenues during 2016. Cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and Ethereum are built on public blockchains that anyone can use to send and receive money. In this way, public blockchains cut down on the need for trusted third parties to verify transactions and give people worldwide access to fast, cheap, and borderless payments. Bitcoin transactions can take 30 minutes, or up to 16 hours in extreme cases to settle. That's still not perfect, but it represents a leg up from the average 3-day processing time for bank transfers. And due to their decentralized and complex nature, crypto-based transactions are difficult for governments and regulatory bodies to control. In other words, they can't shut down these almost instantaneous transactions. More importantly, developers are working on scaling cheaper solutions for cryptocurrencies, like Bitcoin and Ethereum, to process more transactions faster. Other cryptocurrencies, like Bitcoin Cash and Tron, already have low-priced transactions. Examples of improved payments through blockchain. While cryptocurrencies are a long way from completely replacing fiat, like the US dollar, when it comes to payments, the last couple of years have seen mostly upward growth in transaction volume for cryptocurrencies Bitcoin and Ethereum. Some companies are using blockchain technology to improve business-to-business payments in developing economies. One example of this is BitPesa, a blockchain company focused on facilitating business-to-business payments in countries like Kenya, Nigeria, and Uganda. The company has processed millions of dollars in transactions, reportedly growing 20% month over month. 2. Clearance and settlement systems. Takeaways. Distributed ledger technology could allow transactions to be settled directly and to keep track of transactions better than existing protocols like SWIFT. Among others, Ripple and R3 are working with traditional banks to create greater efficiency in the sector. The fact that an average bank transfer, as described above, takes 3 days to settle has a lot to do with the way our financial infrastructure was built. It's not just a pain for the consumer. Moving money around the world is a logistical nightmare for the banks themselves. Today, a simple bank transfer from one account to another has to bypass a complicated system of intermediaries, from correspondent banks to custodial services, before it ever reaches any destination. The two bank balances have to be reconciled across a global financial system comprised of a wide network of traders, funds, asset managers, and more. Suppose you want to send money from an Italian bank account to a Wells Fargo account in the US. In that case, the transfer will be executed through the Society for Worldwide Interbank Financial Communications, acronym SWIFT. Send 24 million messages a day to 10,000 financial institutions. Because the Italian bank and Wells Fargo don't have an established financial relationship, they have to search the SWIFT network for a correspondent bank with a relationship with both banks and settle the transaction fee. Each correspondent bank maintains different ledgers at the originating bank and the receiving bank, which means that these different ledgers have to be reconciled at the end of the day. The centralized SWIFT protocol doesn't send the funds, it simply sends the payment orders. The actual money is then processed through a system of intermediaries. Each intermediary adds additional cost to the transaction and creates a potential point of failure. 60% of business-to-business payments require manual intervention, each taking between 15 and 20 minutes. Blockchain technology, which serves a decentralized ledger of transactions, could disrupt the state of play. Rather than using SWIFT to reconcile each financial institution's ledger, an interbank blockchain could publicly and transparently keep track of all transactions. That means that instead of having to rely on a network of custodial services and correspondent banks, transactions could be settled directly on a public blockchain. Further, blockchain technology allows for atomic transactions, or transactions that clear and settle when a payment is made. This stands in contrast to current banking systems, which clear and settle a transaction days after payment. That might help alleviate the high cost of maintaining a global network of correspondent banks. Banks have estimated that blockchain innovation could cut at least $20 billion worth of costs from the financial sector by providing better infrastructure for clearance and settlements. 3. Fundraising. Takeaways. In initial coin offerings, ICOs, entrepreneurs raise money by selling tokens or coins, allowing them to fundraise without a traditional investor or VC firm and the due diligence that accompanies an investment from one. Blockchain company EOS raised over $4 billion in its year-long ICO ending in 2018. Raising money through venture capital is an arduous process. Entrepreneurs put together decks, sit through countless meetings with partners, and endure long negotiations over equity and valuation in the hopes of exchanging some chunk of their company for a check. In contrast, some companies raise funds via initial coin offerings, ICOs, powered by public blockchains like Ethereum and Bitcoin. In an ICO, projects sell tokens or coins in exchange for funding, often denominated in Bitcoin or Ether. The token value is, at least in theory, tied to the success of the blockchain company. Investing in tokens is a way for investors to bet directly on usage and value. Through ICOs, blockchain companies can short-circuit the conventional fundraising process by selling tokens directly to the public. Some high-profile ICOs have raised hundreds of millions, even billions of dollars before proof of a viable product. Filecoin, a blockchain data storage startup, raised $257 million, while EOS, building a world computer, raised over $4 billion in its year-long ICO. Still, regulators are putting a serious damper on ICOs. At the time, initial coin offerings represent a paradigm shift in how companies finance development. First, ICOs occur globally and online, giving companies access to an exponentially larger pool of investors. You're no longer limited to high-net-worth individuals, institutions, and others who can show the government that they're credible investors. Second, ICOs give companies immediate access to liquidity. The moment you sell a token, it's priced on a 24-hour global market. Compare that to 10 years for venture-backed startups. As EARN CEO Srinivasan says, the ratio between 10 years and 10 minutes to get the option of liquidity is up to a 500,000 times speed up in time. We already see the impact of ICOs on the fundraising market. Venture capital firms have taken notice, with Sequoia, Andreessen Horowitz, and Union Square Ventures all directly investing in ICOs and gaining exposure by investing in cryptocurrency hedge funds. Venrock partner David Pacman has said, "There's no question that crypto will disrupt the business of venture capital, and I hope it does. The democratization of everything is what has excited me about this technology from the beginning." 4. Securities. Takeaways. Blockchain removes the middleman in asset rights transfers, low asset exchange fees, gives access to wider global markets, and reduces the instability of the traditional securities market. Moving securities on the blockchain could save $17 billion to $24 billion per year in global trade processing costs. To buy or sell assets like stocks, debt, and commodities, you need a way to keep track of who owns what. Today, financial markets accomplish this through a complex chain of brokers, exchanges, central security depositories, clearinghouses, and custodian banks. These different parties have been built around an outdated system of paper ownership that is not only slow, but can be inaccurate and prone to deception. Say you want to buy a share of Apple stock. You might place an order through a stock exchange, which matches you with a seller. In the old days, that meant you'd spend cash exchanging for a certificate of ownership of the share. This grows a lot more complicated when we're trying to execute this transaction electronically. We don't want to deal with the day-to-day management of the assets, like exchanging certificates, bookkeeping, or managing dividends. So we outsource the shares to custodian banks for safekeeping. Because buyers and sellers don't always rely on the same custodian banks, the custodians themselves need to rely on a trusted third party to hold on to all the paper certificates. 5. loans, and credit. Takeaways. Blockchain-enabled lending offers a more secure way of offering personal loans to a larger pool of consumers and would make the loan process cheaper, more efficient, and more secure. The first live securities lending took place in 2018, with a $30.48 million transaction between Credit Suisse and ING. The worlds of the consumer, the financial institution, and blockchain are slowly converging. Another space where that convergence can completely upend the way finance operates today is lending and credit. Traditional banks and lenders underwrite loans based on a system of credit reporting. Blockchain technology opens up the possibility of peer-to-peer loans, complex programmed loans that can approximate a mortgage or a syndicated loan structure, and a faster and more secure loan process in general. When you fill out an application for a bank loan, the bank must evaluate the risk that you won't pay them back. They do this by looking at factors like your credit score, debt-to-income ratio, and home ownership status. To get this information, they have to access your credit report from one of three major credit agencies: Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. Banks price the risk of default into the fees and interest collected on loans based on that information. 6. Trade finance. Takeaways. Blockchain and distributed ledger technology can support cross-border trade transactions that would otherwise be uneconomical because of costs related to trade and documentation processes. It would also shorten delivery times and reduce paper use. With approximately 80 to 90% of world trade relying on trade finance, blockchain's influence on the market would be felt globally throughout all industries that use cross-border trading. Trade finance exists to mitigate risks, extend credit, and ensure that exporters and importers can engage in international trade. It is a pivotal part of the global financial system, yet it frequently operates on antiquated, manual, and written documentation. Blockchain represents the opportunity to streamline and simplify the complex world of trade finance, saving importers, exporters, and financiers billions of dollars every year. Blockchain technology has had an increasing regular presence in trade programs for a year now, but its mainstream role in lading and credit bills has only recently begun to firm. Like many industries, the trade finance market has suffered from logistical setbacks due to old, outdated, and uneconomical manual documentation processes for years. Physical letters of credit given by one party's bank to the other party's bank are still often used to ensure that payment will be received. By enabling companies to securely and digitally prove country of origin, product, and transaction details, and any other documentation, blockchain technology could help exporters and importers provide each other with more visibility into the shipments moving through their pipelines and more assurance of delivery. One of the greatest risks to trade partners is the threat of fraud, which is greater because of a lack of confidentiality and little oversight on the flow of goods and documentation. This opens up the possibility of the same shipment being repeatedly mortgaged, an unfortunate occurrence that happens so often that commodity trade finance banks write it off as a cost of business. Through blockchain technology, payments between importers and exporters could occur in tokenized form, contingent upon delivery or receipt of goods. Through smart contracts, importers and exporters could set up rules that would ensure automatic payments and cut out the possibility of missing, lapsed, or repeatedly mortgaged shipments. Unfortunately, there are many ways that some internet users exploit unsecured computing systems to mine or steal cryptocurrency. Learn more about staying safe and protecting yourself in this emerging market before you start investing in cryptocurrency. Chapter 12. Cryptocurrencies and Taxes. Cryptocurrency is a digital currency, or a digital representation of value, as the IRS puts it. You can't see it, hold it in your hand, or put it in your wallet. It's been in use for over a decade and has grown in popularity over the last few years. Instead of using a bank to create, transfer, and exchange funds, cryptocurrency employs a distributed, encrypted blockchain network to process transactions. No bank or government authority controls it as they do with traditional currencies. So, if you have used cryptocurrency this year, what are the implications for filing your taxes? A cryptocurrency primer. First of all, let's make sure we're on the same page regarding this new kind of money. Cryptocurrency units are referred to as coins, even though there's no physical coin. You store cash in a digital wallet or use an exchange or brokerage. Significant providers of these include Coinbase, Kraken, Binance, and Jaxx. Bitcoin was the first cryptocurrency, and it remains the most popular, though it's been joined by Ethereum and Litecoin, among others. Cryptocurrency can be used to pay for goods or services, invest, or exchange funds with someone else. The coins can also be exchanged for traditional currency. You can find real-time exchange prices for Bitcoin. Cryptocurrency transactions are recorded in an anonymized blockchain, which can be thought of as a digitized public ledger. This form of money is still in its infancy, so don't expect to use it for online shopping, though some vendors have started accepting it. It's relatively popular among online gambling sites, and you could even buy a Lamborghini with it. Some employers have begun paying employees with it. The dollar value of the cryptocurrency at the time of the transaction is treated as W-2 or 1099 income. The mechanics of using cryptocurrency are often as simple as scanning a QR code or copy and pasting a long ID. But what happens in the background is far more involved than your typical bank transaction, since the transaction has to be verified by lots of distributed servers rather than one bank or exchange. Cryptocurrency as property. If you have been using cryptocurrency but not paying taxes on it on its related transactions, you're not alone. You're also not compliant with IRS regulations, which could catch up with you someday. The agency may penalize you unless you prove a reasonable cause. Since 2014, the IRS has considered cryptocurrency to be property. Taxpayers are required to report transactions involving virtual currency, like US dollars, on their tax returns, which means they must determine its fair market value as of the transaction date. You can determine fair market value by converting the virtual currency into US dollars or into another cash that can then be converted into US dollars, assuming the currency's exchange rate is established by market supply and demand. You need to do some exact bookkeeping if you're planning to use cryptocurrency. Several accounting solutions are designed for this, but QuickBooks may work just fine for you with some workarounds. It would help if you started keeping detailed records from the start, since reconstructing years of transactions could be difficult or even impossible. Does this mean you could be on the hook for transactions going back to 2014? Yes. The IRS sent letters last year to taxpayers who've been involved in cryptocurrency transactions, informing them that they had to file amended returns and pay back taxes. It's also released a new form for the 2019 tax year. The Schedule 1 now includes the following phrase above Part 1: additional income. At any time during 2019, did you receive, sell, send, exchange, or otherwise acquire any financial assets in virtual currency? Capital assets and cryptocurrency. If you sell your home because you're moving or some stocks because you want to take your profits, these properties are considered capital assets. It's similar to virtual currencies. You pay capital gains taxes on them, either short, held less than a year and taxed as ordinary income, or long-term on your Schedule D. These are calculated just like other capital gains and losses. You take your cost basis, the amount you paid for the currency, and figure out how much it's gone up or down since that date. Capital gains rates for the 2019 tax year can be 0, 15, or 20% depending on your taxable income. However, if you're selling property as part of a business or trade, the property is not considered a capital asset and is taxed as ordinary income. This applies to virtual currency sales too. The IRS looks at the character of the gain or loss, your intent, or why you're selling. Cryptocurrency and TurboTax. TurboTax is the only tax preparation website that lets you walk through the process of recording a cryptocurrency sale. It does so thoroughly and with lots of guidance. This tax topic is not included in the deluxe version, though. You'll have to spring for Premier or Self-Employed. You can find the Cryptocurrency Mini Wizard under Investment Income. 4 situations would require you to complete this section. You do so if you sold cryptocurrency, converted cryptocurrency to a conventional currency like US dollars, exchanged one of the various types of cryptocurrency for another one, used cryptocurrency to purchase products or services. Cryptocurrency transactions are sometimes reported on Form 1099-B, Form 1099-K, or a tax statement that your exchange sent to you. Businesses are not required to send these forms out, so don't be surprised if you don't have one from 2019. It's your responsibility to keep track of your transactions. You can do so by downloading your order or trading history from your exchange's website as a CSV file. If you are a frequent trader, you should be doing this at periodic intervals throughout the year, since your business may limit you to 3 months of data, for example. You'll also be able to enter the data manually. TurboTax allows you to download CSV files from 8 cryptocurrency services: Coinbase, Bitcoin.tax, BitTaxer, CoinTracker, CryptoTrader.tax, Robinhood, TokenTax, and ZenLedger. You can either drag and drop your files or browse your system for them. When you enter your data manually, TurboTax needs the service name, asset name, like Bitcoin or Ethereum, purchase date, cost basis, sale date, and sale proceeds. You may have to contact your exchange if your CSV files labels don't match those in TurboTax exactly. The site provides the fields you'll need to complete for each transaction on one screen. After you enter this data, click Continue. A summary of the transaction will appear. You can either add more transactions or continue with the return if you're finished. A final summary tells you whether it was a short-term or long-term gain or loss, and if the transaction will be reported on your tax return. Chapter 13. Present and Future of Bitcoin. We live in a world where our online IDs are in the hands of the government, social media, and banks, and we rely on them to keep us secure. Blockchain IDs put you, and only you, in control. Therefore, you can store all of your passwords and other personal information securely on the blockchain, eliminating the need for passwords in everything from Skype to Facebook, Twitter, and more. These ID services could be applied to government services, medicine, and any other record-keeping agency in the future. The blockchain system's real potential comes from its foundation of decentralization, transparency, and an unrestricted market. It exists to combat greed and middlemen and to give individuals ultimate control of their identity and activity. In a foreseeable blockchain future, we will see a world where our medical records are immediately available if we are in an accident, where online voting was possible, and transparency was paramount, and greed is disincentivized. Can blockchain change the world? Before we decide to answer the question at our disposal, we first need to understand the blockchain's idea. The first sector that will see the change is the financial industry. The finance sector is going through significant problems right now. It requires disruption to survive. Blockchain could be the perfect catalyst and solution that can provide the necessary means to solve the blockchain industry's pains. Blockchain changes how money flows through institutions, or is traded among traders. Blockchain has the potential to change almost every industry out there. It can create a more efficient and prosperous world where people can connect without the need for intermediaries. Companies can also utilize blockchain technology to provide a more transparent, trustworthy, and efficient service to the consumer. For instance, a company can use a permissioned network to create an efficient system. They can also utilize it to keep transparency with the end user by sharing information to build trust among users. As for general users, they can also utilize the blockchain to its full potential. If you are a creator, you can connect with the buyers directly using a blockchain solution. At this moment, we can't predict correctly when exactly blockchain will take over, but we do know that the process has already started. How blockchain will change the financial world? The financial world will be changed entirely with the help of the blockchain. Blockchain platforms can transform the global economy quite quickly. For example, the Ethereum blockchain can automate, secure, and operate an efficient process in the finance and banking sector. It will also optimize costs and digitize securities and other assets without increasing the cost required to manage them. The financial world can always benefit from the transparency, trust, privacy, scalability, and security that blockchain offers. For instance, the financial market can utilize programming capabilities and automate things such as KYC/AML, data privacy, etc. It can also help streamline processes with improved efficiency. Blockchain will succeed in changing the financial sector as it's way more superior than the transactional model. Some of the best blockchain use cases in the financial world include the following: investment management, lending and banking, insurance, trade finance. How blockchain will change real estate. Have you tried to buy a home recently? Then you should know how much effort and time you need to complete a purchase. Any real estate transaction can take anywhere between a few weeks to months to complete. The reason behind the delay is the use of a less efficient altogether process. The large scale of the real estate makes it very hard for buyers and sellers to coordinate and manage their properties. With blockchain, real estate can see many changes, including bringing in a more efficient process with automation. Other benefits include real-time payment settlements, reduced costs, tokenization, and real-time payment settlements. This is a massive boost that can help blockchain transform the global economy. The most significant advantage is the reduced time it takes to make deals. With proper tokenization, real-world assets can be stored and traded on the blockchain. Tokenization also means that other kinds of information can be reserved online, including real estate funds, governance rights, and more. Few of the blockchain use cases in real estate include the following: deed records and land titles, tokenization, leasing and payments, real-time accounting, tenant identity. How blockchain will change healthcare. The last sector that we are going to discuss is the healthcare. Right now, healthcare can also benefit from the blockchain. There are many pain points in the healthcare industry. For example, patients have always had to carry their documents with them. This can lead to issues including wrong data input. Another thing that needs to be fixed is drug traceability. With no proper traceability, drugs can be counterfeited easily. Research is also hampered, considering that patients' data is not accessible for the most part. Few of the blockchain use cases in healthcare include the following: drug traceability, patient consent management, electronic health records, better clinical trials. Will blockchain succeed? The path of making blockchain global and reaching everyone around the world is not easy. Blockchain seems promising, just like any other new technology out there. When the internet came along, it caused ripples and hailed as the single most revolutionary technology out there. It did change how we connect, but it took its own time to evolve and improve. Artificial intelligence was also hailed as the next generation technology that can change the world. My point is that almost every new technology shows promise, as they are better than the previous ones in one way or another. Only time can tell how blockchain will impact society. For now, everyone is on the same page, but for sure, blockchain is very promising and has the potential to change the world around us. However, what things can go wrong with the overall bright vision for blockchain technology? One of the biggest hurdles that needs to be taken care of is governance. As blockchain is decentralized, governing it can be a very tricky situation. As it is currently in a growth stage, it can be used for naughty or harmful things. The main focus should be to create a governing body that can dictate safe rules and regulations for using blockchain technology. This way, we can ensure that blockchain technology is used in the right way. So, it is tough to say what direction blockchain will take. Its impacts have already been seen in many use cases discussed above, but the adoption rates are still struggling. Conclusion: cryptocurrency is an exciting concept with the power to fundamentally alter global finance for the better. But while it's based on sound democratic principles, cryptocurrency remains a technological and practical work in progress. For the foreseeable future, nation-states' near monopoly on currency production and monetary policy appears secure. In the meantime, cryptocurrency users and non-users intrigued by cryptocurrency's promise need to remain ever mindful of the concept's practical limitations. Any claims that a particular cryptocurrency confers total anonymity or immunity from legal accountability are worthy of deep skepticism, claiming that individual cryptocurrencies represent foolproof investment opportunities or inflation hedges. After all, gold is often touted as the ultimate inflation hedge, yet it's still subject to wild volatility, more so than many first-world fiat currencies. The volatility also remains a concern for large conservative investors who would struggle to justify adding an asset that regularly notches up at daily moves of above 10% and whose features are unlikely to make Bitcoin a must for investors who are unfavorable to risk. The end.